Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, before we get into anything, please do me a favor and like and sub to this video. It really helps out the channel. It really does. And I want to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's kind of like my goal right now. So by you doing what I asked politely will help with that. Now, before we even kind of dive into Doctor Strange 2, I want to talk about the MCU for a bit. So yeah, I like the MCU. I think they got a good idea of what they have. I do believe they are careful when it comes to casting its characters, casting talent, writers, directors, all that stuff. Is it perfect? No. Iron Man 3. I fucking hate that movie. Now I want to take this moment to kind of like have a precursor moment, and I want to talk about Age of Ultron. Obviously, 2012 Avengers was fantastic. I think everyone enjoyed that movie to some level. It delivered the promise that we're going to set up all these movies with all these different characters and put them all in the same movie and have them team up. And they nailed it. They really did. And I think it was like that movie, the Avengers movie, that kind of cemented the fact that the MCU, it is very powerful. It can do a lot of things within the movie, business and just in general. Joss Whedon, what a good guy. Just kidding. He kind of sucks. He directed that movie and he did a great job. But yeah, so Joss Whedon, it gets announced. I think it was like 2013 that Avengers Age of Ultron was going to be like the next Avengers movie, and Ultron was going to be the big bad. Now, obviously the world is excited for that movie because like, yeah, it's Avengers sequel. Let's fucking go. Now, I remember seeing the movie Avengers Age of Ultron, and after that, I enjoyed myself and I felt kind of hyped, but like I knew right off the bat, like that movie wasn't as good as the first Avengers movie. I didn't know really why at the time, but over time, I kind of just realized like, yeah, this movie, like Age of Ultron, it's not a good movie. Because if you think about it from the story structure, standpoint, it's action this, talky scene this, action this, talking scene this. Like the movie plays it very safe. Is it entertaining? Yes. Is there a lot of action? Yes. Are there cool moments? Yeah. But there's no actual story within Age of Ultron. Nothing really happens. When Loki attacked New York City, you kind of felt nervous for our characters. You felt like this sense of unity and yeah, we can do it. In Age of Ultron, we were like, wow, this is like cool to watch, but like I'm not really feeling it this time. As the years have passed, we've come to realize that movie had some production issues, mainly with its plot. And I think Joss wanted to do something different than what Feige wanted it to be. And you heard rumors about Joss, getting a little bit tired with the actors off set, that kind of stuff, all that dramatic nonsense. Obviously, it makes sense because, Joss is kind of a piece of shit. So, but regardless, Age of Ultron suffered from, I guess you could say, studio interference. That's kind of the thing with Marvel. They have a good grapple of like where they want to take these movies, and the directors just sort of, they deliver those movies. And that can be a critique or not, but hey, it's there. Now, what Age of Ultron did, it did set up the stage for what's to come for Phase 3. Obviously, it set up Civil War pretty well. Set up characters like Vision, his deal with the whole the Soul Stone, Wanda. It's set up where people are coming from, and Age of Ultron basically set the stage for Phase 3. There's a movie somewhere in Age of Ultron where maybe a movie existed within the movie, but instead it's a summer blockbuster action popcorn fest that is just to make $1 billion. Now, we reach Phase 4, and Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness gets announced. Scott Derrickson, the director of the first movie, is back for the second. 2020 happens, but before the pandemic actually happened, Scott Derrickson left the project, saying, I think it was creative differences at the time. So that happened. One of the things we heard about Doctor Strange 2 was that this was going to be more of a horror movie. Now, if you don't know Scott Derrickson, he comes from a very horror-based background. And so I think that he wanted to put more of these horror-like elements into the film. And I don't think his horror jived well with what Marvel wanted it to be. I think this movie, it suffers a lot the same way that Age of Ultron did. It's a movie that exists, but it doesn't really do anything for the characters in the movie. Rather, it sets up the playing field moving forward, like in Age of Ultron, where you don't really feel this connection with the characters. You don't really feel like the world's in danger. It's the same thing with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. You don't feel anything when you watch this movie. There's one scene you kind of feel something and you're like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. And I think that's where the movie kind of stops being a Doctor Strange movie. Christine's getting married and Doctor Strange is talking with like one of his coworkers before he became, Doctor Strange. I guess the guy's asking him like, hey, did you make the right decision about, when it came to Thanos and the Time Stone, all that stuff? There is a question asked in this movie about Doctor Strange. Did he do the right thing? Was it right for him to let Tony Stark die in order to stop Thanos? And there's something interesting about that. There's definitely something interesting about Strange's arc in this. But like the problem is this movie, it doesn't care about Doctor Strange. It does obviously because like he's the main character and he's the guy on the poster. So it cares for that reason alone. But it doesn't particularly care about any of the characters. It just does things in order to set what Marvel is planning. And that sucks. And I have a huge problem with that. There was really no character for him. There were snippets. Like there were things in the movie that were like, oh, I wish we got that Doctor Strange. Like there's a moment where he's fighting himself in like the nightmare world or something where, oh my God, what's it called? The incursions, like an incursion's already happened and he's fighting his evil self. And there's a moment where he's talking to it like this evil version of Doctor Strange. And he says something about like the death of his sister. And it's sort of like why he became a doctor to begin with. There are emotional moments like that in the movie where you kind of feel for Doctor Strange and you're like, oh, I wish we got more of this. Like you don't feel anything when you watch this movie. His story is who fucking cares? It's like over there. The only thing he kind of learns is I shouldn't have to be the one to control everything. Yeah, no shit. like the way its message doesn't hit home with the audience. Again, it's an Age of Ultron. It is setting up the stage for Marvel Phase 4 and 5 and 6. And so my theory is that whenever Kevin Feige or the director of said film are not on the same page, this is kind of the MO where instead of having it become shit, they kind of salvage what they have to have it be a movie, something that's entertaining and fun to look at with bits and pieces of character, but not really, just in order to kind of get it out there and set things up. Doesn't feel like it has its own identity. Now, the Illuminati are in this movie. They're so fucking dumb. Remember, these characters, these Illuminati people, they're not our MCU characters. They're not. At the end of the day, who gives a shit? They're not important. They're not our characters that we should care for. They're more kind of like, again, these characters are just setting up things that could happen for future movies. Also, this movie's only 2 hours. It's trying to do a lot of things at the same time. I'm not one of those people that believes that a longer movie makes a better movie, nor am I one of those people that's like a shorter movie is better. A movie needs what it needs. It comes with anything. Endgame needed to be 3 hours. If it was like an hour, well, fuck that. This movie, Doctor Strange, I believe it was originally 2 hours and 30 minutes or something, but they cut a lot of shit down. And I think that was a mistake. This movie needed some breathing. When it comes to the CGI in this movie, I've been very negative when it comes to the Disney Plus CGI. First of all, I get it. It's a show. Shows usually have less budget, but at the end of the day, it is Disney. You don't need to make Moon Knight fucking like CGI. Like, what are you doing? I'm not even gonna get the whole She-Hulk fiasco, but yeah, work on their CGI skills. The CGI in this movie, it's not bad. I think my only gripe with the CGI is when Doctor Strange gets his third eye. That's clearly CGI. It kind of looks like shit. Everything else, though, from not Shumagorath to Wanda doing Wanda stuff, this movie does look good. Choreography, it's great. There's a weird scene with Multiverse Mordo versus our Doctor Strange. I thought that was like a weird scene of them just fighting hand to hand. It didn't feel like it belonged in this movie. So that was weird. Mordo's useless. Christine's in this movie, sort of. She has the wedding part. Who fucking cares? Like who fucking cares about Christine Palmer? Oh, Marvel does because she has a contract. Okay. Same thing with Mordo. At least this version of Mordo. Sam Raimi, he's kind of the backup director for this movie. And I think his style when it comes to horror works synonymously with this film. Not because it's Sam Raimi and it's like, hey, let's give him a voice. I don't know if it's so much, Marvel being, hey, let's get Sam some space to do his thing. I think it's one of those things like where the piece just sort of lands. So there's that. Let's talk about Wanda. So look, I do not care. First of all, I do not care if Wanda's bad. That's not her being the villain is not my problem. It's just how we got to that in the movie. It's like, here's Wanda, bam, she's the bad guy. And like, where did this come from? At the end of WandaVision, that secret ending scene, she's reading the Darkhold. Now, if you were to have Wanda start where she ended off with WandaVision, and then maybe at the end of the movie she becomes the bad guy, like she grows to become the bad guy, I think that would have worked way better. she's immediately the bad guy, and she's immediately like, I'm gonna fucking kill everyone. And that just doesn't make sense with where her character's at, or at least where we've seen her character. There's no consistency for her character. It's just like, we need to get this shit done fast. Fuck it, just make her bad. And she's destroying people. She is burning places down. She is not the same Wanda that she is from WandaVision. And again, her being bad, I don't care about that. That's cool. I understand that Scarlet Witch, kind of goes crazy here and there. House of M. You're just immediately dropped with her being the bad guy. And yeah, is she dead? No, because it's Elizabeth Olsen, and the whole entire world and all of MCU people are like, yeah, she's a great actress. Why would you get rid of her? I think she's, a pillar for the MCU at the moment. So, there's that. Again, fuck this movie. We don't care about it. We need to use this movie to get these characters from point A to point D. And yes, does Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness succeed with that? Yes. But again, you don't care when you're watching it. You're like, oh, this is entertaining because, it's superhero stuff. It's obviously entertaining. Oh, and yeah. And let's talk about America Chavez. She's not a character, which sucks, especially since, she's openly gay in the comics. I never got the sense that she was actually gay in the movie. That is an important part of her character. Almost, I got the sense that like Disney's like afraid to like admit that she's a lesbian. So that was weird. Xochitl Gomez, I think she does a great job. I don't think she's given a lot to do because she's not really a character. She's really a MacGuffin piece in this. And again, her character arc is very flat because like Strange is like, no, you can do it. You just have to believe in yourself. You've been doing it this entire time. Have you really been doing it this entire time? I don't think you have been. All right, we gotta save it. We gotta make this movie, and it's already fucked up. All right, we'll use the Age of Ultron move. That's my thought on Doctor Strange 2. I hope they kind of learn from this and just maybe fix that style of salvaging in future movies. Another thing too, I don't know how much the volume cost where they shoot the Star Wars projects or where they shot Thor: Love and Thunder. But my God, Disney, you gotta make like 5 of those things because, those things work and they make every fucking project you make look extremely good. That is the future of big budget movie making. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions on Doctor Strange 2. Is it a terrible time? No. I think it's a meh time. Until the next video, peace.